Well, it's a dandy show. We listen to you all the time. Yes, it's a dandy show. We're playing music oh so fine. Well, you don't need your cup of coffee, 'cause we got lots of beer and wine right for you. Well, it's a dandy show. You're gonna love our grooving time. Yeah, with a DannyDayShow.com, we be grooving all the time. Well, we don't need your money, baby. Come on, just bring us beer and wine. I don't know.
Happy Sunday, everybody. It's the Danny J Show right here on the DJB Productions Network. Hit that notification bell down below. Hit the subscribe button. Leave us some comments down below. And as always, share the channel. We always greatly appreciate that. You can always check out all the different shows here on the network. So go through, browse through the categories, find a show you like, jump on it, and share it to everybody in the world. Greatly appreciate it. Once again, on today's show, we are right now live on Facebook as well as on YouTube. I got the beautiful and the wonderful Christy Sanborn. Here she is. Hey, how are you?
Hey, Dan, I'm good. How are you?
Very well, very well. Christy is a good friend of mine, a good friend of the show and the network. She is a podcaster. She is a self-help enthusiast. She is a hairdresser. She wears many, many hats. She's a mom and she's a wife and she's a good friend. So we're on here with Christy. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff here. We're going to talk about everything that goes on in her life right here on the show. It's a lot to pack into a 30-minute show, but we'll do it. The condensed version, if you will. But just getting into it like that. Christy used to be up here in the Northeast. Christy moved from New Jersey not that long ago, actually. How long are you down? She moved to Georgia. How long ago?
It was about 3 years, Dan. We moved from
3 years. That's that late now. Look at that. It's been 3 years. I'm sure that was somewhat of a little bit of a culture shock going from one to the other, or how was that?
Yeah. Being a Northerner my whole life, right? Living outside of Philly, where we're from. Yeah. I still can't shake this Philly accent. It continues to come back more and more as I work to try to, curb it a little. It always sneaks up and everybody's like, you must be from Philly. I'm like, I lived in Jersey for 7 years, but somehow I still sound like a Philly girl.
Right.
Even down south, people are like, where are you from? So, God, it's such a blessing to be a Northerner living down south because I feel like I can appreciate the weather so much more than people here. Because they didn't have to shovel, they didn't have to scrape ice off their windshield to try to get to work on time.
Right.
They've never seen anything like that. It makes us a little harder. It hardens us up north. True. And our work ethic too is I don't know. I feel like we're such go-getters. We're always like trying to create something, make something happen. Be somewhere, do something. Right. It's a little different down here. People aren't as driven, I guess, to create as we are. I'm always looking for the next thing to create and get my hands in, too. So. True.
And you know what? It's funny because you do so many things. Like I said, you're a hairdresser, which makes you automatically a people person. You love being around people and you love to talk. Yeah. You love to spill the tea. You love all that stuff, as they say. It's one of those things where, like you said, being creative. A number of years ago, you started a podcast called The Landing Strip. You were on with a couple different hosts, right? Not just one. I think it was it
my friend Eva. Yeah, my friend Eva was on there with us. We were two hairdressers coming together, hairstylists, whatever you want to call us. And we just wanted to just put a podcast together about the things we saw and witnessed behind the chair and of course in the salon. And we worked at an all men's high-end salon in North Jersey. So, this was a very unique clientele. Mm-hmm. And, I hate to say this, I don't want this to sound derogatory in any way, but I feel like men as a whole are pretty similar beings. Whether you're down south, up north, across the country, and different, wherever you are, I feel like men in general have the same, they're all kind of the same. They're very, very loyal when it comes to their hair. They'll go to they'll go to the same hairstylist or the same barber until that guy dies. All right.
Right.
Even if that guy doesn't do a good job with their hair, it doesn't matter. He's happy going to the same place, the same month, the same, you know what I mean?
Right. Right.
And it's hard for men to change. It's hard for men to look elsewhere. So that's a funny thing with men, you know. So we loved it.
And I'll tell you, like the show itself, I mean, you guys talked about everything. You guys talked about getting massages. You guys talked about driving around naked. You guys talk. I mean, it's a funny show. It really is a funny show. I don't know if you have it. If you have it anywhere that you can post it, I don't know.
Okay.
It's such a great show. It's funny. And you're talking about two beautiful hairdressers, and you're like, oh wow, this is crazy. It's like everything you wanted from a Howard Stern show with like two girls, basically.
Oh,
you know?
Thanks, Dan.
It was just, it was just great.
It was very special because, you know, we really did go into a lot of depth, you know, about our lives, and we didn't hold back. And I love Howard Stern, so I love that you brought that up. I'm a huge Howard Stern fan, always have been.
Yeah.
To me, he's the funniest comedian that I think is out there. I think he's so fast and just witty and he's brilliant. And I grew up listening to him, so I just love that you compared us to that a little bit, because that's a compliment, really. And
it's true. I used to listen to the show on the way down to, you know, to work or whatever the case is. I used to catch it. And it was one of those things where, you know, you're listening to the stuff and I'm just getting like lost in the whole shuffle of like, what are they talking about? You know, I love this, you know. And is it something where, you know, like, and like Eva was talking about, she got a massage one time and you know, was with a woman and she almost got a happy ending. And I thought, and this was some funny stuff. It was really like just funny stuff. And it was one of those things where I was just like, oh my God, right? Really? And then I was like, tell me more about this. I want to hear, because now I want to hear about this. Because then she ran out of there naked and got in her car and she was driving home naked because she didn't have time to put her clothes on. And I'm thinking,
she was so put off, and it was just like, well, you could have just gone with it. I mean,
right? Yeah,
just enjoy yourself. But that's so funny.
I mean, you're tipping her regardless.
Exactly. I mean, you might as well just see where it goes. I mean.
Right.
It's fun. And you know, that's the thing. I think right now, 2024, I think we're all searching for, first of all, I think we're all searching for the truth is what I think. I think everybody's looking for all this authenticity, and the truth, and you know, just transparency. Like, just say it how it is. And that's what I love about being from up north. We say it how it is. We don't sugarcoat. We don't go back and forth. We're not trying to not hurt somebody's feelings. We're just saying it how it is. And I think that matter of factness comes through, and people trust you and they tell you more. People tell me everything. People tell me everything. And you know why? Because I tell them everything. I have no shame. Right. You tell me, I'll tell you. We'll keep it in the vault, right? It doesn't need to go anywhere. We'll share. We'll have this moment where, so I think that's, anyway, that's why I love podcasting. I love the fact that we can have these conversations, you know, openly and, you know, it gives people an opportunity to maybe walk away with something they didn't know before, right?
And talking to you before and being a hairdresser, you know, me being a DJ and then talking about nightlife and bartenders and stuff like that, it was always about, you know, who wants to bend the ear, you know, who wants to go in and like, you know, I just need to talk to somebody about this, blah, blah, blah. And it was one of those things. The funny thing was, and I think that's what drove you into another realm of things. Like you started doing what's called the pop-up couch, and this is kind of unique. I mean, and understand, just for precursor, you know, Christy's not a licensed therapist or anything like that. She's someone to bend an ear. You know, she said, I want to offer my ear and I'll give you my opinion. You know, so on and so forth. You know, if you're going to do it in my chair while I'm, you know, cutting your hair, we could do it while we're sitting here sipping a cup of coffee or something like that. And she would randomly putting up this couch, and that's the funny thing, is that you would show up with this couch somewhere, and I would imagine you had to get permissions in some cases to put the couch up, right?
Permission?
Yeah.
No. You don't need permission to set up a blow up couch on the sidewalk. You don't.
Oh,
no,
really?
You really don't. And I first started doing that down in New York. I would take my couch on the bus. We lived in North Jersey at the time, so I would just take the blow up couch with me and roll it down, and I set it up right on the sidewalk outside of Grand Central Station, which I thought would be a good area because there's so many people going, and I knew I'd be seen there.
Right.
And the only thing I wasn't allowed to do was to set up inside Grand Central. I was only allowed to set up outside on the couch. I'm sorry, on the sidewalk. They didn't have any say there. And so again, people will sit and talk. People will tell you, they'll tell you what's on their mind.
And I'll be honest with you. If I was walking in the street, and I don't care if I stub my toe or if I lost my job, I see Christy sitting on this couch saying, "Hey, free advice," and Christy's hot. I ain't gonna lie. Yeah. So like, I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna do double duty. I'm gonna sit down because I'm tired of walking, and I'm gonna sit down because I'm gonna be talking to this really hot chick. And the funny thing was, and as a guy, I will probably say a lot of guys stopped and said, "Oh, well, this hot chick wants to talk. I'll talk to her. This is my opportunity." But I think it actually did open up to something that was unexpected, at least on their part, to sit there and say, "Hey, we're actually having this like meaningful conversation that like I don't have to like hit on this girl. I don't have to get her phone number. Like she actually did want to talk, and we're going to talk and do whatever we're doing and go from there." And I just think that's the funny thing about it, is that it served the purpose. And it's almost like, you see like at shows where you have these models that like model the cars, and you see Christy's this bombshell, 5'10", something like that. 5'9", I don't know.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, thank you. With my
5'10" or whatever.
Yeah, with my moon boots.
There, doesn't matter.
Yeah, with my moon boots. But like, you see this, this woman there doing this stuff, and then she's offering advice and blah blah blah. And I just think that's like, it's a cool thing, because like you said, like people sometimes just need a bend of ear. And that's the funny thing. And like I said, you don't take it seriously. If obviously we would say, if you do have something going on, seek professional therapy, seek professional help, of course.
Oh, yeah.
That type of thing. Christy was there just to say, hey, you need somebody to talk to. Sometimes you can't talk to your wife or your husband. Sometimes you can't talk to your best friend or your sister or brother.
No,
so having a stranger there that's just willing to listen and offer up a non-biased opinion, sometimes that's what people want to hear, in a sense, and they can take it from there. Now,
I know. You're right. And you know what, Dan, just to like piggyback on that a little bit, I think everybody's currently working through something. We all are currently working through something all the time.
Yeah.
So when you leave your home in the morning, there's always something you're just struggling with or working through or trying to figure out, right? Trying to navigate. And that's what I was doing. My intention for sitting on that couch was to grab people and say, what are you currently struggling with right now? Don't worry about what I can't, let's not get into what happened when you were 9 or 10. Let's talk about right now, today. What's on your mind today? And that was so powerful, because who else is asking that question? And, honestly wanting to listen and then offer that. So I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
In the moment conversation. I love that. Right now, our live conversation, this is like the juice, right? This is for me, this is like my happy. I love that moment okay, look, can we talk about you just for a second? Like, what are you struggling with today, right now? I'd love to hear that one thing that you're kind of facing with something.
Well, I'm turning 50 this year. I'm turning the big 50.
Okay.
So,
that's awesome.
To say I'm struggling with it is an understatement above anything else.
Are you struggling? Is it hard for you to see yourself?
You know what?
Or what? What is it?
You know what it is? I still have the same mind I did 35, 40 years ago. And I don't necessarily think I look my age, but the scenario is you feel it. You feel it, and that's that type of thing is where, like, I'm like, ugh, like my shoulder hurts a little bit more than it did before. And this happens and that happens. And you're dealing with these different ailments that come with getting older. And we are getting older, and that's just a part of life. You know what I mean? And you just move on. And I have children now, and I'm married, 24 years this year. And it's,
beautiful.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And it's just one of those things where, I'm like, this is what happens. This is my my stuff, and is it something that's going to change? Is I still get at home off the out of work, and I sit there and go into the couch and I watch cartoons. I do whatever I'm going to do. And it's one of those things
Okay.
where I mean, it is what it is, and I work multiple jobs and I do all this stuff, and it's like, but it's one of those things where, you're getting older, you're in the second half of your life, and what was important
Yeah.
before is not as important now. And other things become important at like breathing and walking
Mhm.
around and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So it's like, um, but it's funny. I have a little surprise for you here, and I'm going to.
Oh yeah, I love
Yeah, I
it.
do. I do have a little surprise for you here, and I'm just getting this situated so I can
Okay.
so I can. This is me producing while the show's on, which is fantastic.
Okay.
And now
Just to touch on
what
what
I
you
was.
said.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
No, I'm just going to touch on what you said. And from what I hear from you is, I think there's something more, is what I'm feeling. There's something more that you haven't done, and that maybe you're going to do it now. When you turn 50, maybe it's the time to do that thing. I don't know what that thing is,
Right.
but is there something that's like kind of tapping you, like, hey, you going to do it now?
There's
That you going to
always
do it
something
yet?
tapping. Like you said about being creative and being, like you always
Mm.
are. I mean, I produce several
Yeah.
different shows on my network, and my YouTube channel is not typical of YouTube. It's I have
Awesome.
multiple categories. I have multiple shows. I have stuff for wrestling. I have stuff for comedy. I have stuff for nerds, and I have stuff for special interests. And I produce all these different shows, and I have all these different hosts and all this stuff. And so this is my creative outlet because I want, this is my education. This is what I've
Yeah.
done. I'm not getting paid for it, unfortunately, which is my downfall or my sad part of what I do. It's a reminder that I do all this stuff, and
Okay.
it's like, is it getting out to the masses? Is it getting out to a small amount of people, etc.? That type of thing. But it's one of those things where
Okay.
I'm
So
just
I just
like,
have one word for you. One word.
yes. What's that word? You cut
One
out.
word for you.
Yes.
Just one. No, one word is yet.
Yeah.
Y-E-T, yet.
There you go. See.
So what you
See.
just said is valid,
Yeah.
but you didn't say yet. You said, I do
Right.
all this, blah, 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 I do this, and that's gorgeous. It's wonderful. But you didn't say yet. I'm not getting paid
Right.
yet.
Yet.
See,
Right.
when you add that
Mhm.
little word onto the end, it has to come to you. It has to, by law, come to you.
See
It
that?
has
See
to.
that?
So just start saying that. Maybe that'll be your word for when you turn 50. Christy said
Yeah.
that. I think I'm going to go with that. And everything I say from now on that may be kind of negative, I'm going to add yet to it.
And
That's
then
all.
when it doesn't happen, I want to say,
And then
Christy
watch it.
said this.
But you have to believe that's
No, you do. You're absolutely right. Let me ask you this:
Christy said this. And I think I'm gonna, well, I've never tried it before, so I'm going to go with it. Sure,
yeah.
yeah.
Now, let me ask you this: who benefits more? I don't think anybody ever asked you this. Who benefits more from the pop-out couch? The person that sits down with you, or you?
Oh wow. Um, I'm going to say both because it just fills my cup. It really does.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just something magic happens when two or more, I should say, two or more people get together to collaborate on
Right.
something magic happens, right?
Right.
Even if you're not a religious person or a spiritual person, maybe you are, when you gather together for the same purpose, right?
Yeah.
And all your minds are kind of focused on that one thing. Magic happens. So more than you could ever do by yourself, right?
Right.
So I think that's the best part about people getting together. And thank God COVID is over and we can get together and we can discuss and
Yeah.
we can, create things together. So two minds are better than one.
That's true. That's true. So I'm going to bring up your surprise here, and you're going to laugh. And
Okay.
what?
I can't wait.
Let me see what I'm doing here. It's show screen.
I cannot wait. Is it an old picture of me from high school?
Yeah, it's an old picture of you from high school. I'm going to bring this up.
Is it? Okay.
Look at this.
I can't wait.
Can you see it?
I can see it. Oh my God, I love it.
I am right outside.
That's awesome.
I'm right outside my my door here at my house, guys. You know what? Here we are. Here you go. Yep. Just set this up. I didn't have time to go to the city, but you know what? I thought let's just do it out front, right? So the neighbors, maybe they need some free advice. Hopefully they'll stop by. Anyway, how are you guys doing? How's everything? How are you feeling?
My front lawn. I need to do that here. I need to do that on the front lawn.
Hopefully,
you should do that here.
even if just one of these topics helps you,
I'm going to.
awesome. Right?
Look-
Mission accomplished. All right, here goes. Let's start.
And I love this because like you're ready to go
right?
and you're right outside the
If
house.
you are searching for happiness, here's the thing. Hi, John.
Love it.
How you doing? I hope you're feeling better. If you're searching for happiness, guys, it's very simple. Just be more compassionate, okay? Think about others.
I
when
love
you're
it.
feeling
It's
stressed.
great, Dan.
You
You know?
remember this, are one of 7 billion people in the world. You are
7
not
billion
alone in
people.
your suffering and in your pain. I promise,
awesome.
guys. So
You know?
sometimes we just have to make a
Thank
shift.
you for that.
Okay, if we're feeling
Absolutely.
pain or loneliness, or
But this
anything
gives
like that,
everybody an
sometimes you just
idea
have to
of what the pop-up
remember
couch is
you
in a
are
sense.
not alone.
You
There's
know,
a ton of people
Yeah.
in this world feeling the
I
same
don't think
way
I ever have you
and I
talking to
guarantee
somebody.
if you just
but-
shift for a minute and think about how wonderful and
Mm.
lucky you are, even in the worst of it, all right,
Right.
you still have a lot to be thankful and grateful for. Okay.
See, look at that. Now we're going to stop there. But like, how awesome is
Thanks.
that in the sense, you know, it just brings you a little back. Now that's from,
Yeah.
I think roughly 6 years ago, something like that.
Yeah.
It's a good long time ago.
My
I mean, it
boobs
really
look
is a while ago. They do. They look fantastic. I mean, I, you know, I can't edit the software, so I can just like zero down and just keep your voice going, but like look at your chest. But they look fantastic. But
Oh,
You-
Dan, thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for reminding
Awesome.
me about, what was going on back then. And
yeah,
sometimes I think we forget, like maybe we forget if what we're doing is even working. Like,
Right,
is this
right.
even working
Exactly.
for me? Is this even making a difference? Is this even something? Am I even on the right road here?
right.
And I think sometimes we just need to go back a little bit and take a look and see where
Mhm.
we've come from and say, you know what? Well, maybe I'm inspired to get back into that. And maybe from this place where I'm at now, I
Yeah,
can go back and do that a little bit better than I used to. I think that's kind of where I'm at now. I think I'm a little more polished now. So I think
Yeah,
I can revisit that and bring that back as
Yeah.
a new version of it. So I think
Right.
I'm going to.
Now, we talking off the air, we were talking about how you want to get back into podcasting. You wanted to get back in because you had to take some time off. You had to do things. You had to do life things and move the family and everybody, you know, and the family looks great. You know, everybody looks happy, you know, and look like they're striving, which is great. But now with this new show, you know, what are you looking for out of a new show? Like, what are you looking to see in a sense?
Right now my focus I have a coaching business, a life coaching business. I specialize in relationship coaching. I really think there's a need for this. And I love that you're a perfect example. I mean, you're happily married to a beautiful woman of 24
Mhm.
years.
Mhm.
I don't know if a lot of people can say that now. I think people are, they're missing the mark in a marriage or a long-term relationship. They're missing out on the best parts of it. And I think I want to do a show primarily about just relationships in general and how to show up better for your partner, how to show up better for yourself and your kids, and
Mhm.
really, set the bar higher and show more value. I meet a lot of people that are cohabitating, right? Which is a
Okay.
big pet peeve of mine. I'm not judging anyone. I will not judge. I don't judge. But I've never really seen that work out so well. Like
Mhm.
we're together for 10 years and we share the same house, but we're not married, and
Right.
we're happy though everything's cool. But like, I kind of disagree with that. I don't
Yeah.
really think that you're committed. I think once you make that commitment to
Mhm.
someone, that promise to someone, when you do that, that's when you truly grow, because that person's also promising you, I love you unconditionally. I'm not leaving. on your worst days, I'm still going to be here. You're not going to get that with a cohabitating situation. And I think there's so much power and magic in marriage. I really do. I'm proud of a lot of things in life, but one of the things I'm most proud of is my marriage. It really is. And I've been in lots of different situations with lots of different men, and it was never like this. I have grown so much in 12 years with one man, so much. And I credit it all to our marriage. I really do. I really, really do. I think there's so much power in that. So I want to do a podcast really surrounding that, just, mindfulness and gratitude and just personal relationships.
I mean, my advice to you, because you're so full of like hope in a sense, you know what I mean? But you don't forget how funny you are. And don't forget, like, you know what I mean? Like legit, like don't forget that. And you know what I mean? That's the thing. For me, and it's because I know you 35 plus years, but
we went to same high school together.
Yes, you know what I mean? So it's because I know you so long. I know you, you know what I mean? And it's like, I'm like, don't, not everybody needs to have fulfillment coming out of you. Sometimes we just need to hear BS coming out of Christy. You know what I mean? Like,
I love that.
You know what I mean? Christy laughs because I'm like, Christy would be like, so Dan, how's everything? How's your life? And I'm like, how are your boobs? I mean, I don't know. Like this is what I'm worried about. So I'm like, like this is just,
right. Don't be afraid to be funny. And and you know what, Dan? I'm not afraid to be funny. I'm not afraid to be me. I'm not afraid to offend somebody. I'm not, because you know what? I don't get offended. I'm not offended by anything that somebody said. I'm really, no. And you're so right about that. I think that's what you do. You make people laugh. People need to laugh.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, it's you need to find humor in yourself.
Right. Well, we come from a generation. You and I are both Gen X, and we come from a generation where we weren't offended, and we didn't have social medias, of course, growing up and stuff like that. So we took everything head on, face on, so to speak. We worked through bullies. We worked through friendships. We worked through relationships. We worked through bad decisions and good decisions, etc. And and not even getting into your past or anything like that. But I mean, I know so much from what you've done before, and you're like, is that, I would sit there and say, is that something you're ashamed of or whatever? And you're like, no, you know what? I learned from it. And that's the important thing. That really is the important thing, is to learn from it. That's why mistakes happen.
No shame. No, really.
Nah.
I feel, well, I think you have to honor yourself and your choices. I mean, what are you going to do? Beat yourself up about the things that you did or didn't do? Who cares? At the end of the day, you're the one going to sleep at night, and you're the one telling those stories. And it's really a matter of how are you telling those stories about your past? Because the way I tell the stories of my past may sound different from how someone else tells them about me. But I know what I'm okay with all of it. I wouldn't change a thing. I've been consciously alive and living my life for 46 years, and I'll continue to be. And it doesn't matter what you think. It just doesn't matter. It really doesn't. I wish them well. If they have anything to say, I wish them well. And sorry that they didn't experience life as much. Maybe that's the problem.
If I have one triumph moment and you're involved in it, which is funny as stuff. Like now, Christy and I never dated or anything like that. We were just friends. And but on your podcast, you were interviewing an ex-girlfriend of mine. And that ex-girlfriend of mine is a sex therapist. And I was listening to the whole interview. And
yes,
exactly.
Oh, that was a good interview.
It was a good interview. No lie, it was a good interview. I'm gonna lie. But the funny thing was that I'm sitting there listening to the interview.
Thank you. She's awesome.
I listened to the whole thing. And I sat to myself, and I was in the car, and I out loud said, I was just by myself in the car, and I also said, I'm like, yeah, but Christy, I slept with her, so I know what really goes on in the bedroom with this woman. So I totally just shouted it out in my car, and that's the thing. It's like when you can talk to your radio, you know what I mean? Basically, like you have a great interview, and I'm
amazing.
And I'm like,
and we should be talking about this stuff too. Like, what's the
Exactly. Especially in the second half of life, like we have so much that we could drive from and go from there.
Oh, yeah.
So Christy
I know. And
is
there's some
going
people
to
that are
be.
just so squeamish.
Well, that's the thing, and you know what? It's a matter of I do stand up comedy, and my tagline at the end is always,
Yeah.
if you can't make fun of yourself, make fun of other people, right? And it's to make people laugh, and
That's
you know
awesome.
what I mean?
I love
Legit,
that.
you know what I mean? And if you can't, and the bottom line is that there's humor in everything, and it's a matter of, the real's never going to go away. So the best thing you could do is smile, make fun of it, and laugh while you're running through it, because that's how you get through it. Because
Yeah.
it keeps you from
Yeah.
dwelling on the bad, and it keeps you from, doing, like, oh, I'm so engulfed in this real thing that's happening in my life. Meanwhile, I make fun of it, I laugh about it, I make other people laugh about it. They sometimes get squeamish because it's
Yes.
very Gen X humor, but
I love
in a sense, you know what I mean? But it's one of those things where I'm just like, you know what? Sometimes it doesn't, you can smile, and it's okay to laugh at something off color, and it's okay to, uh,
Of course it
to,
is.
to have, it's
It's
like, you don't
great.
do, yeah, just because you laugh at something doesn't mean you subscribe to it. You know what I mean? Like in that sense.
That
And yeah,
Of course not. Of
no,
course not.
so,
No,
and
exactly. But stand-up comedy is bigger than it's ever been because people are
it is.
searching for that realness, right? We're looking for it. We want it. We
Yes,
can't find it anywhere. Everybody's
that's right.
filtered. Like, let me put a filter. No. Let me just see the real thing.
Yeah.
Let me
Yeah.
hear it. I want to hear the real thing,
And I think, well,
People are
I
hungry.
think, but I think people are so now trained to look for the filter. And when they see the real, they don't know
Yeah.
how to deal with it. They don't know how to process it, that type of thing. And
No.
that's where I think you come into play in this sense. And like I said, once again, I had the, precursor. She's not a licensed therapist or anything like that. And if you do, require, or you do perceive
Yep.
that you need some professional help or whatever, you seek it. There's plenty of facilities out there. There's online helps. There's chat lines.
Oh
There's
yeah.
all kinds of things you could do.
Yeah.
Christy literally just offers
Yeah.
a opinion. She offers an ear to bend,
Mhm.
and just say, hey, you know what? Sometimes you can't talk to said person or that person. Talk to me, and I'll do it, and I'll just let you know,
That's right.
non-biased, what I think. And that way, at least you have a, it's when you don't have a sculptured point of view per se, like, say, like,
Yeah.
based on, like, oh well, my wife said this. Well, she's saying that because she's married to you, and blah 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 blah. Versus Chrissy's like, well, I don't know
Mhm.
you from Adam. This is the way I perceive it. That's like the cleanest, the clearest
Right.
view you can possibly get in that. And like this, and not to say that she's right or wrong, but at least it gives you something to weigh back and forth. And I think that's
That's
where,
right.
it's
And
having paths, like you say.
mhm. That's right. And if I'm looking for advice about money, I'm not going to one of my broke friends. I'm going to
Well,
somebody who
yeah.
does well, and I'm going to.
Yeah,
So it's
exactly.
just, I'm sorry, like consider the source, right? So there's certain
Exactly.
people you go to for certain needs that you need met, and if I have relationship questions, I'm going to go to
Yeah.
somebody that has healthy relationships, and I'm going to ask them.
Right.
So that's important to remember. Take an inventory of who you're actually going to for advice, and,
Mm-hmm.
and make sure that you're asking of them, that they're showing you through their actions that
Right.
they can back up their word, is what I'm saying. So that's all I'm saying.
Exactly.
I'm not perfect. I'm a work in progress, but I have had a lot of experience in certain areas, and
Mm-hmm.
I've pretty much cracked the code, you say, as far as
Yeah.
relationships go. I know how
Yeah.
to show up in a relationship, and I know how to handle situations when they arrive, and navigate those
Right.
so that everybody's okay. Not that I'm right all the time. I'm not. A lot of people do that. I'm right, you're wrong. No, that's not how you do it. It's not
No,
about you
no.
being right or somebody being
Right.
wrong. It's a compromise.
It is. It
Yeah.
totally is. So you be on the lookout for Christy. She's going to get back into the podcast game.
I am.
I'm hoping for a lot of not only the self help, but I'm looking for a lot of
Yeah.
comedy. I'm looking for a lot of humor. I want a lot of sex talk. I want to hear all this because I love raw Christy is what I'm looking for. Raw Christy.
All
That should be
right.
the name of
I'll
your
bring
show.
her back. She's
Raw
coming back.
Christy. she's coming back. So we're gonna check
I
that out here.
I love that.
See
I
that?
actually
Raw Christy.
That's good.
That's I'm telling you. I'll collaborate. I'll produce it.
She's coming back. I
Guys,
love it. It sounds like a sushi object.
it does. It does. It's a Raw Christy. I'll have that and a side of fries.
Well, I think
Guys,
it's awesome. I think you're right. I think I'm going to come back with the comedy too.
I think it's
bring it.
definitely it's something to look at. And once again, I'm going to make you big real quick before we get out of here. Look how gorgeous this woman is. My God, her husband. Let me tell you something. If he doesn't appreciate that, he's a fool. He's a fool and a dope.
Yes.
I know he does.
Sure
I know he does. Because he's like, why does that guy call me a dope? I'm like, and why is he ogling my wife? It's because you're like thousands of miles away. That's why I'm doing it. See, that's how that works. But guys,
well, keep that Philly accent. Keep the Philly accent.
I tried to. It's funny up here. They think it's Baltimore. That's funny. People from Philly sound like Baltimore, Maryland. Yeah, that's what I get. It's all the time. Apparently, Baltimore people sound like Philly people.
That's so.
Yeah, I get that all the time.
I don't know. I think there's something to it. I think that people are drawn to it. I think Philly hasn't even had its time to shine yet. I think it will. I really do. I think it's coming. I continue to just kind of be gravitated to the Philly scene and the Philly, I don't know, the Philly mentality. And there's just some grit there that you can't really find anywhere else. And there's something, I don't know. I think Philly's on its way up on the map.
It's on its way up. She said it. She said it right here.
If
it doesn't happen,
Philly.
If it doesn't happen, talk to Christy about it.
People want to hear what we have to say. I think we have something. I think we have a different flavor than other places do.
Now, let me ask you this: do you think, real quick before we go, do you think podcast-wise, do you think you're going to bring on a co-host? You're going to do it by yourself, solo? What are you thinking?
That's a great question. I'm considering bringing maybe a co-host on it. I'm going to be very careful about who that is, though. I want that person to be completely different than the podcasts I've had in the past.
Right.
I don't know. I'm considering that. I think that having two is good. Having two people to kind of bounce back and forth is good.
Absolutely.
Probably somebody younger, a lot younger, I'm thinking, and maybe even somebody a lot older. So I kind of want to have a couple different perspectives on the show. I think that would be good
fantastic.
when we have these different topics, so I can kind of bounce that off. Yeah, I want to bring that dynamic back. I like the sound of both of those. The young, very young, and then the very old.
Yeah, and then you're right in the middle, right? And right there. Sandwich.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. You drive me crazy. All right, guys, the gorgeous, the beautiful, and the delightfully talented Christy Sanborn. Be on the lookout for her on different YouTubes and stuff like that, YouTube channels, whatever. She's going to be bringing that back. Yeah. And I definitely, if you go to her Facebook page, you find her on Facebook, check it out. If you're in the area, you're in Savannah, Georgia, right?
Yeah.
If you're in Savannah, Georgia, and you happen to see a blow up couch, don't worry about it. It's clean, and she's there.
It is clean.
It's just something about a blow up couch and a chick with really great boobs. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm bringing a wifey. I don't know. It just seems like the thing to do. I could tell you she's 100% clean.
It's not what it looks like. Hey,
it's not what it looks like at all.
Real quick, Dan, back to the couch just for a second before we go. I had a guy actually stop me on the couch in New York and say, "Are you homeless? Do you need a ride or something?" I'm like, no, I have a home. I'm just doing this for fun. And he's like, okay. He was actually concerned that, maybe I needed help. And I'm like, no.
And meanwhile, you do your makeup up and everything. Like, you had to be like the hottest homeless chick on the face of the planet, like the cleanest and the hottest chick. I'm like, wait a minute. She's homeless. She can afford makeup. She can afford makeup.
Her
boobs are up her chin. It's fantastic. That is the funniest thing I've heard in my life. You are the hottest homeless chick I've ever seen in my life.
I'm okay. Thank God I have a beautiful home. I'm okay.
Yeah. Yes, you do. And your husband provides very well, and you do very well, and then that's a great thing. And your kids are striving. And are they getting annoyed with you? Do you like talk this shit all over in the house? That's what I want to know too. Like, does your husband be like?
Yeah.
Does he like? Is Is he like Christy?
Yes, they do.
Does he say like Christy? Shut the fuck up! I don't want to hear anything out of you. Does he say that? Come on, be honest. Yes.
No, he doesn't get annoyed. He doesn't get annoyed. Kids get annoyed though. The kids are like, Mom, seriously, stop. Like, Mom, I'm embarrassed. Like, oh my God. Like, yeah, but I'm not embarrassed. And I tried hard not to embarrass them. This has nothing to do with them. But no, I have a lot to say. I want to share my insight.
You want to really embarrass your kids? Do a pop-up couch at the school. Like, why is your mom at the school on a couch?
They wanted me to do it at the school.
And think back to when we were kids though, like when somebody had like a hot mom, just like, dude, your mom's hot and she's on the couch. It's like that's all.
It's like the worst compliment. That's not a compliment.
It's not. It's not.
You
but
never
like,
want to hear that from anyone.
But take it anyway. It's just like whatever. All right, I'll take it, but I don't like it. You don't have to like. Remember, I told you, you don't have to subscribe to it. You just gotta go with it. You know what I mean?
That's right. That's right.
Guys,
just roll with it.
I love this girl so much.
Funny.
I love this girl so much. And guys, it's going to be great shows. She had great shows before, and she's going to have great shows in the future. You want to check out Christy Sanborn when she comes on. I will probably even do some simulcasting with her, have her back on the shows.
Thank you.
Absolutely. No, definitely. Stay on. We're going to have more to talk about off the air. But like, guys, until next time, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Make sure you're sharing the channel. Leave us some comments, everything like that. It's the Danny J Show right here on the DJB Productions Network.
Thanks, Dan.